Hi, Dr. Alina Kolchitsky, Boutique Bodyworks, Lifestyle Medicine, Nutrition, Fitness, and more. I'm having a small dinner party this evening, and I'm making the dessert myself from scratch. Polish kitchen, Polish dessert. Only half Polish. So we're going to make my babcia's, my grandmother's Śliwka Placek. So that's a basically plum tart, and plums are still in season here, so nice time to make it. I've already pre-made my dough before I started recording the video. Okay, so I have my big ball of dough here, and it actually tastes really good, even though it's simply just sugar and flour and butter. That's it. Obviously, it's refined carbohydrate, right? We've got processed flour, it's highly refined, and the sugar. I'm using cake flour, white gluten flour. So this isn't something that's necessarily healthy or that you'd eat all the time, but when you are going to have a treat, making it from scratch is a lot healthier than buying from the store. So here we go. I've also already greased my what do you call this? It's not tin, but you could use tin. So this one's ceramic and meant for baking. So it's greased and floured, and now I need to make the dough, roll it out to fit it. Okay, so let's get you in here. So we've got some flour already on a clean surface. So I cleaned this beforehand. I'm going to take my ball, which is very soft because there's quite a bit of butter, almost 2 whole sticks. So it's pretty sticky. It sticks to everything. So you've got to have some flour close by. So you're going to sprinkle some flour on top first. And even put some on your rolling pin. And we're going to roll it out until it's about an inch thick. Not even, sorry, half an inch thick. And I'm not going to preheat my oven yet because then this has to go in the fridge for 30 minutes to set. And yes, I'm in my pajamas. Juicy! Often growing up with my grandmother, my babcia, we would bake and cook, especially during Vigilia for Polish Christmas Eve, 2 weeks in advance, making all the dishes for a 12-course Christmas Eve dinner. And you start right after breakfast. So we'd often get things started in our pajamas and then wash up and continue. Have lunch, continue. Have dinner, continue. Have a little krupnik after dinner, maybe continue. It was good times. I miss those times. Okay, so just want to be able to handle it well. We're going to peel this off. It's okay if it's kind of breaking on you. Signs I should have put more flour under my surface. Should put a lot more. Okay, let's do this again. As I said, lots of butter, very sticky. When things don't work out the first time perfectly, don't worry about it. Try again. Lessons learned, right? Got my flour handy. We're going to really just douse the sucker in it. Okay, here we go again. I remember when my babcia was baking, always had the flour close by and constantly dipping in it. It's a long time since I've made this dish. I can't wait to eat it again. She used to make this all the time. She also would make it with apple. You can use any kind of fruit, but plum and apple were a regular. Okay, that's much better. As you can see, it's lifting. As you can see, I'm not a pro. I have not made this since childhood. So inexperienced hands means messier, but that's okay. It's pie dough, so we can easily form it as needed into the surface that we're baking it in. So it's very forgiving, unlike baking a cake. So I want to make sure I get right into the corners and have even thickness. So that part is important so that it bakes evenly. And the stuff that goes over the edge we're going to trim and put back where needed. Okay, just about. Let's trim off the end here. That's kind of overflowing. And let's put that on this edge. So, as I said, this has to set in the fridge for 30 minutes before we bake it. And we bake it at 200 degrees Celsius. Yes, it's from a Polish recipe, so it's in Celsius. That's 392 degrees Fahrenheit. Like, if it's perfectly converted, I will put it to 390. And so you bake it for 30 minutes, take it out, then place your trimmed plums, which I have over here, already washed. Well, I still have to have them and take the pits out. So I'm just trying to make my corners nice, because I don't want to have like an overly thick corner of dough. I want it to be nice and even. And then you place the halved pitted plums into the pre-baked pie crust and put it back in the oven at a different temperature to finish cooking it off. Okay, so now we take a fork and we're going to pierce it. That's so that the air, when it bakes, can escape. We don't want any huge air bubbles in this. Make sure you get the corners. Needed a little bit of flour on there because it's sticking. So we don't want any air pockets that'll bubble up and change the shape of our pie. It needs place to escape. That's what these holes are for. Okay, that's it. So we're going to put it in the fridge for 30 minutes. I'll be back. Okay, we're back and it's time to take it out of the oven. You can hear it beeping. So clear. There we go. Let's preheat quickly to what we need next, which is 425 degrees Fahrenheit. And as you can see, it's kind of slid down the edge a little bit. So I probably should have spread it out more, pressed more, and gone maybe a little bit on top of the edge to help that. But that's okay. It's still going to taste great. Live and learn. Okay, so I already have the plums washed, pitted, and I quartered them. So I put them in, cut them in half, and then took the pits out and cut them in half again. So you want to start from the outer edge, work your way around, and then work your way inward. You could do it halves instead of quarters with the plums, but I think this will just look kind of prettier this way. Maybe easier to eat as well, so that when you bite down you don't get like a whole piece coming off and leaving you just the dough, you know what I mean? It smells delicious. It's funny, it kind of almost smells like almond extract, even though there's no almond in here at all. You do want to pack it densely, as I said. So I'm making my second way around. Now plums are good for you. You know, all plants have polyphenols, so flavonoids and antioxidants, not to mention, of course, the vitamins and minerals and fiber. But with fruit, it is natural sugar, and though it is natural, it is sugar, so you do want to be careful how much you eat. We want some because we want all those beneficial properties, but not too much because of the sugar. So you want to eat more vegetables than fruit. But this is for a dinner party. This is for dessert. We're going to have fun. We want something yummy and a treat. I may have quartered too many. That's okay. Maybe I go squish this up and make it a little bit more dense. But you see the pattern I'm making. It's kind of pretty. So again, after making our crust, we had placed it in the baking dish in the fridge for 30 minutes to set the butter. It's really high in butter, 2 sticks of butter almost into this recipe for 2 cups of flour, half a cup of sugar. So not a lot of added sugar, just half a cup. That's not bad compared to a cake or something. And I'm trying to use up all my plums. Of course you could eat them. Yeah, well, I think that's perhaps dense enough. But it looks pretty. Okay, so it's ready to go back into the oven. Need to wash my hands after that though. And my oven is ready. It's already at 425. So, so back it goes. Okay, so into the oven at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Careful because it's hot, so make sure you use a oven mitt or towel. It did say to bake it on the bottom rack. Okay, so we're going to set this for, it said for 25 to 30 minutes. Never going to get this thing right. Okay, so cooking time, we'll start with 25 and then we'll see what happens and I'll be back. It's beeping, it's time. Ooh, that looks pretty. And I think we'll take it out because the crust is kind of pulling away. Sorry, the heat is changing the camera, but the crust is kind of pulling away from the side of the dish. So we're going to go ahead and take it out. Plus the smell, I can tell from the smell, there's a little bit of caramelizing happening. You can see the plums on the tips looking a little bit caramelized. So 25 minutes was definitely enough time. Maybe even too much at that heat. I followed a recipe because because I don't have my bubbles, unfortunately. It's hot. Okay, so we'll let that kind of cool and gel, but you can see the tips. They're just caramelized slightly, and the crust is brown and pulling away from the sides. It's done. Okay, we'll let that cool, and I'm not going to taste test it because it's too pretty intact. I will wait until my guests arrive. Okay, we're back, and it's been maybe 20 minutes since I pulled it out of the oven. And so just to recap, we made the dough, and then we rolled it out, put it in our greased baking dish, set it in the fridge for 30 minutes, and then preheated the oven to 292 degrees, 400 Fahrenheit. Baked it for 15 minutes. While it was doing that, I had my plums that I had already cleaned, quartered them, pitted them, ready to put in the dish. And then we put, after making it all nice and compact, with the plums back into the oven, preset at 425 Fahrenheit, and baked it for 25 minutes. You could get away with a little bit less with that high of a degree, but this looks delicious, and I cannot wait to try it. Well, it's going to wait until my guests arrive and we have it for dessert tonight. I hope this was fun. It was for me. I haven't made this dish since I was a young adult with my grandmother. I used to visit her on the weekends when I was in university and bake with her and cook with her. So it's been a long time since I've had it homemade from scratch, and so happy to dive in and carry on the tradition, finally. So I did manage to have a shower while that was baking for the last 25 minutes, and it's been sitting here cooling. I'll show you. Looking lovely, and the aroma smells fantastic. I don't need perfume. I smell like plum tart. There's an idea for a new perfume. Plum tart. Polish plum tart, no less. Anyways, it looks delicious. I cannot wait to serve this for my guests. I've gotten back into having people over for dinner, only in small groups because I get overwhelmed if it's too large of a group of people. But I'm really enjoying it. You know, after divorce, end of 2021, everything changes, including your social circles. And so trying to find yourself again, including your social network, and you know, making yourself vulnerable, because your home zone is your most intimate place, and inviting people to that home zone is a very kind of special private thing. So I've been dipping my toe into entertaining small scale, and I'm loving it. Cannot wait to serve a little bit of my history and home tonight with my special guest this evening. Thanks, and bye for now.